question was Battle of Plassey was a farce, substantiate. Now, if you have seen the last year instruction in your main examination question, there was an instruction that content of the answer is more important than its length. Is this all right? Now, please understand this instruction in the context of this question. See, if you write, if they have mentioned 200 words, and if you are supposed to write 200 words and 25 question of 200 words, right, it will be a difficult thing to do, right? You will not get time to think, right, basically. So when they ask this kind of question, right, and when they are mentioning also the content of the answer is more important than its length, so in this kind of question, you can write your answer in 150 words and you can communicate your idea, you can save 50 words and you can save some time also. This kind of question can be tackled in 150 words. So you have the material of 150 word only, but they have mentioned 200 words. It is a prestige issue for you. So what you started writing? Introduction. Battle of Plassey was on 23rd June 1757. Then it was between these two. Then causes of Battle of Plassey. Then impact of Battle of Plassey. Then relevance of Battle of Plassey. Whatever you know, you wrote about Battle of Plassey. And then you are saying that whatever you need, you just take all these things. Answer would be within this only, right? So it's not that like answer would be different. Whatever is available on Battle of Plassey, in any book, in any notes, in any coaching notes, we are providing. Ye le lo. 200 words you have asked, means what? You want all these things. So you take all these things and, right, just select, right, whatever you want. So basically, when you devote more time, you know that this answer can be managed in 120 words. You know that. But still you are elaborating, pumping material, thinking that all content should be there. Casualty was 65 from Nawab's side and 500 from this side, impress to impress examiner. There were 50,000 force in this side and 5,000 on this side. All thing like yellow, wolo, like, but issue is answer, like you can write like in 150 word, you can save time. So my idea is that in some question where you can manage the answer, you can write answer in 150 word, you can save word. It's not that 200 word is a basic thing. Without writing 200 words, right, you should not leave that question. You should. So basically, and in some question where suppose child labor issue, you know many programs. So there you can go for 210 words, no problem, right? So basically in this kind of question, you can save time, right? Most of the answer what I have seen, that they elaborated only because it was asked in 200 words. Is it all right? So Battle of Plassey, yes sir. Yes, yes, yes. Because when like examiner will start reading that answer, right, and you have not cut it, like they will understand that you didn't get that question, right? And it's a job for them. It's a life and death question for you, but it's a job for them. They will realize, okay, okay, ye kya likh raha hai, bakwas, baksar and all, right? So better you cut it, right? So anyhow, now Battle of Plassey was a farce. Now coming to the answer, it's a very easy question, but still, right? Battle of Plassey was a farce. As you all know that after the decline of Mughal, Bengal became independent, right? Bengal became independent under Murshid Quli Khan. And Murshid Quli Khan had no time to tackle those East India Company's issue. So he avoided those East India Company affair. After that, Alivardi Khan became the ruler. He had idea about those works, those activities of the East India Company, but that time he had to face a problem from Marathas, Bhonsles. That's why he ignored, right, the activities of East India Company, thinking that companies, right, they all are like bees, right? East India Company are like bees. If you will not disturb them, they will give you honey. And if you will disturb them, then you will have to suffer, basically. So Alivardi Khan behaved in a matured way. But after Alivardi Khan came Siraj-ud-Dawla. And Siraj became very important. Like Siraj started taking all these challenges very seriously, right? And when Siraj became the ruler, he had idea that his position is not strong. Siraj's position is not strong because there was anti-Siraj clique present. His accession was opposed by his aunt. His accession was opposed by his cousin. In his court also there were some person who were opposed Siraj. Siraj, knowing fully well that he is not strong, he was not ready to ignore the activity of East India Company, right? You can consider it as a problem of Siraj-ud-Dawla, right? And Siraj realized that no, I should give a clear-cut instruction to the East India Company, and he gave 3 clear-cut instructions. One instruction was, don't fortify, fortification not allowed, fortification of factory. Second, don't misuse dastak or the commercial privileges. And third, no hostile activity, right? Don't actually promote my opponent. So these 3 instructions were given by Siraj, but these 3 instructions, they refused to comply, and he captured some factory, and then when he captured some factory, Clive came, and then Clive imposed a treaty of Alinagar on them, and when that insulting treaty of Alinagar was imposed on Siraj, Siraj realized better to challenge them. And when both met at Palasi, what Siraj found, that battle is already won, right? On 23rd June 1757, in Battle of Palasi, it was basically no battle, right? Substantial part of the army, they never participated. Commander-in-Chief Mir Jafar was already with Clive. Then Omi Chand and other bankers, they have already sold Nawab. So basically it was a transaction, basically, as the Panikkar said. So on 23rd June 1757, what happened was not actually a battle, it was a betrayal, It was not a battle, it was a skirmish, It was not a battle, it was a transaction. It was not a battle, it was a conspiracy, So basically, on 23rd June 1757, there was no battle, there was already a conspiracy, and there was no fight. So Battle of Palasi is not important from military point of view. It was just a farce, So Battle of Palasi was not important from military point of view, and it was a betrayal, it was a transaction, it was a conspiracy, it was a skirmish. So all these things you have to write by giving the example of Mir Jafar, Omi Chand, Rai Durlab, all, basically, and the conspiracy of the Clive, But Battle of Palasi, not very important from military point of view, but it was very important from political point of view, strategic point of view, economic point of view, So Battle of Palasi, so far as military battle is concerned, you should not consider it a battle, it was a farce. This is the basic idea of this question, And we can easily manage this question in 120 words, 110 words. You can save time and you can save some words also. Is it all right? So Battle of Palasi can be asked. Battle of Buxar can be asked in the main examination, and sometime they ask this question, that what Battle of Palasi indicated, Battle of Buxar confirmed, So sometimes they ask you to compare Battle of Palasi and Battle of Buxar. So these 2 areas is a very popular area, of 18th century history. So these 2 can be asked. Is it all right? Sometimes they ask as an optional, as I remember, they ask the nature of Battle of Palasi. So what would be the nature of Battle of Palasi? You can write that it was not battle, it was a betrayal. This is the nature of the Battle of Palasi. It was not battle, it was a transaction. How all those economic, all those bankers and all those Jagat Seth and all those people who were associated with that court, they sold Nawab, It was a transaction. So all these things we can write about Battle of Palasi. So very easy question, not very difficult to manage. Yes, nature, we can mention that one, nature is not important for military point of view, it was not battle betrayal. Second nature is that actual British rule is started, right? So how actual British rule is started? Because strategic, they were in a very proper strategic position. It helped them in the Carnatic War, right? So the nature you can mention, like the economic drain is started, right? Then, so this way we can mention, but basic mention, basic answer would be, the crux of the answer would be that it was not actually the real battle, right? Not very important from military point of view. So sometimes they ask this kind of question also, right? Now coming to
Significance of Banker being with the English in a military battle. What would have been
significance.
of bankers being with the English rather than on the Siraj side?
Huh.
What could have been the consequence of that in a military?
No, bankers, like, because not only bankers, his relative, bankers, commander, army, right, his friends, they all were with Clive, basically. Siraj was all alone, right? Only Mir Madan and Mohanlal, 2-3 person, right? He was all alone. So basically, before the actual battle, they decided everything. So this is the, right? Even bankers and all, because there were no one, right? No one to support Siraj, basically this. It's not economic angle is very important here, right? So it was just a farce, right? The real battle was Battle of Buxar from military point of view. Anyhow, this question is not very difficult to handle. Now coming to question number 3. See, in question number 3, please understand, the question number 3, the company had been dead as a political power long before 1858, but its skin was still preserved as though it was still alive. All that the Act of 1858 did was to give a decent burial to that corpse. See, in this kind of question, like, you have to write the evolution part, how gradually company, right, became a, right, basically, right, it became a meaningless, right, institution, and gradually how, right, how parliament controlled this. So basically, before 1773, there was no parliamentary interference in the company's affair, before 1773. But when they started losing the 13 colonies of America, they started thinking, they started considering India very important, and they started regulating, right, India's affair, right? So it was in 1773, how we can manage, right? So it was not that, like, they have mentioned 1858, that all the provision of 1858 you are writing, right? It was not all the provision of 1858 you are writing. Basically, you have to see how there was a process, and before 1858 only, right, company became the, basically, as they have mentioned, that before 1858, right, the company was dead as a political power. How we can show this? We can write the progress, like evolution, from 1773. So 1773 they appointed Governor General, and in 1773 Act, they started actually regulating director. They fixed the director. Now they fixed the director, it was 24. And then they fixed the time also for 4 years and all. So they started interfering. Directors also fixed, and now for general administration, Governor General, right? And then after 1773, in 1784, in Pitt's India Act, what they did? Now they clearly separated the function of the company, right? Court of director for commercial function and board of control for, right, administration.